Hi group, Rochelle here, and I wanted to jump in today and talk to you about diary cards. And so that is something that you may or may not be doing in individual therapy. You will not be doing that in your skills training. But a lot of people who are in skills training are not in specific DBT therapy with their individual therapist. And so there's kind of a disconnect on how to apply these skills specifically to yourself when you do not have a DBT therapist that's applying this in session. So I wanted to give you some insight and give you a tool that you could use on your own and still bring that into your individual therapists if they are open to that. And so it's a diary card. And what it does is it introduces how to actually apply tracking a specific behavior that you want to increase or decrease. And so I created it on my little whiteboard. It's when it records backwards. And so I wrote it all backwards for you. Or I would have just shown you what this looks like. There's like a lot of, it looks really intimidating. But when you break it down to each section and you start off with only one or two sections, it's not that intimidating. But again, it does look like a lot. So what I want to talk about today is what your diary card may look like, how that would apply to you, and and I'll put a diary card in the comments below so you can print one if this is something that you might find useful. Okay, so when you have a diary card, what you start with is thinking about what behavior you're looking to increase or decrease. And so that would be your target behavior. And so, for example, I struggle with mindlessly eating, especially in front of the TV. If I'm watching TV, I'd like to snack. And so for me, in just thinking, man, I want to eat healthier. How can I do that? I've sort of, in my mind, come to the conclusion that mindlessly eating is a struggle for me. I may track this on a diary card and realize that that's not the struggle, but that's what I'm thinking right now. So that's what I'm going to go with. And so I would put eating in front of the TV as my target behavior that I want to decrease. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, if you see there's every day of the week is over here on the side, and then there's a time, so daytime, nighttime for each day. And so I'm going to track twice a day on each day whether or not that behavior is occurring or not. And so that's probably where I would start with. I would probably start with how committed am I to giving this behavior, or how committed am I to giving up on even tracking or doing this treatment at all. And you can scale it from 0 to 10, 0 to 5, 0 to 3, whatever works best for you. So if you're going to say 0 as in, I do not want to do this at all, I'm not committed, I'm ready to give up, then know that that's what your scale is. And if you're working with somebody else, let them know what your scale is. You can change that. Even if the diary card that you print out has a specific scale and you're like, ooh, 0 to 10, that's too much. I need to work with just 3 numbers. Either I am in or I'm out or I'm somewhere in the middle, then do that as well. Remember, this is for you to benefit you, so make it work for you. Okay, after that, you have your commitment, and you're going to want to track that because that can change during the day too, right? You could start off really committed in the morning. Lots of things can, especially emotions, can get in the way, and you can feel less committed. For example, if I am trying to eat healthier and that's my overall goal, if I go out to eat with a friend and then I eat a bunch of dessert, I might think, well, there goes the whole week. I might as well not even stick to my goal anymore. And when in reality, I want to say, no, I didn't do well today at night, but I'm going to do better tomorrow. And so this kind of gives you that, let's start fresh the next day and then really go back and see what got us in trouble that day. And so it might be for me, oh, and I'm talking with a friend, I'm just eating mindlessly again because, that's how I am socially. And so I could assess that in my individual therapy if that's what I'm noticing in this pattern once I have a diary card created. Okay, so then you go over so the behavior either happened or not, and you can just put tallies where it happened. And that's a great place to start. So you know whether this behavior is getting you in trouble or not. Is this a problematic behavior for you? If you're only tracking it maybe once a week and it's not that big of a deal, maybe it's not a problem for you. If you're tracking punching somebody in the face and it shows up, probably a problem, even if it only shows up once. So take some discernment in that as well. And then as you get better and you're able to really tell the difference between your thoughts and your urges, start tracking your thoughts and your urges. Whether you where you felt on your scale to give up, or if you were having high urges. So know whether you're tracking an urge occurred or an urge didn't occur, or a thought occurred or a thought didn't occur. So those would be tallies again, whether it occurred. Some people have urges without thoughts. That might speak to some mindfulness, right? If you're all of a sudden you're jumping into an urge, you're more likely to have that behavior occur and you don't even know what got you there. And so your individual session might be around, okay, you're having a lot of urges without having thoughts. Let's talk about that. And in DBT therapy, what your therapist would be doing is a behavioral chain analysis for any time the target occurs or the highest intensity of that target occurring. And so what that would look like is they would have, talk about your vulnerabilities, then they would talk about sort of this prompting event that kind of got the ball rolling that day for that behavior to occur. A lot of links in the chain. First, this person did this, then I thought this, I felt that, I had these sensations happening, it got overwhelming. You'd be scaling that, and then you would say, and then I did my behavior. And then all the after effects after that behavior. And what that's going to speak to is helping them find drivers that are occurring and also determining what the function of the behavior is. So what you're trying to solve or accomplish with that behavior occurring. So behavioral chain analysis is a whole nother video. It gets, it really breaks down, but that's also a very key important component for you to understand where those skills apply to you, because with that behavioral chain analysis is where you would put in those skills. So you'd find a driver someplace in that narrative and then you'd put the skill in. And so we'll cover that in another video. Right now, getting a week's worth of tracking in is very helpful. And so if you are open to doing that, you can do that. It's not part of the skills training that you're going to learn in your group. But again, it's going to bring that added additional bonus that you're not getting in that group. And that's why I thought it was important for me to come and do the video. So I know I cruised through that pretty quickly. On the diary card itself, when you see that, if you print it off, there's going to be a lot of things you're not going to want to do. This one has a whole secondary behavior that you're doing, so you're going to X that out to begin with first. So you're not even doing this half of it. And then drivers. Look at these drivers. And then there's a whole column for whether or not you used your skills. So you're not even there yet because you don't even know what skills to use for those drivers. You don't know what your drivers are. So you're going to X those out. So you're really looking at just these 4 columns right here. So it's not as intimidating once you get it in front of you and you break it into those sections. And then after you learn how to do a behavioral chain analysis, which we'll cover in another video, then you can start helping yourself pick functions and drivers with the help of your individual therapist if you guys decide that that's something you want to target in your sessions. If you don't want to target that in your sessions, then I can kind of help you a little bit in coaching on, give you a sheet to do some behavioral chain analysis on your own and help you try to figure out drivers on your own and your function of the behavior on your own as well. So hope that was helpful. I know it was quick. Hit me up with any questions in the comments, and as always, you can email me too. All right, thanks.